Welcome back to the Global Business Report on Arise News. In a major break with President Muhammadu Buhari, who has consistently opposed the devaluation of the Naira, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo yesterday openly advised the Central Bank of Nigeria to adjust the Naira exchange rate to be as reflective as the market as possible. According to him, the Vice President said this while giving a presentation on Nigeria's economic sustainability plan, which was covered live on Arise News at the Midterm Ministerial Performance Review Retreat at the State House in Abuja. The Vice President also said there needs to be less competition and more collaboration between the central bank on the monetary policy side and the ministries on the fiscal side. Let's take a listen.
The last GDP report presented by the Honourable Minister of Finance also highlighted major challenges to the economy. Of course, unemployment heading for over almost 40%, and loss of jobs since 2018, dwindling oil revenues, and dwindling on account of production. Poor foreign investment inflows, both FDI and FPIs, likely due to exchange rate concerns and uncertainty around the repatriation of profits and security concerns. Now, I think that many of these problems are completely resolvable. I do not think that they constitute any significant, difficulty that we cannot resolve. But I think that one of the most important things is that there must be synergy between the fiscal and the monetary authority. That is absolutely crucial. We must be able to deal with the synergy. We must handle that synergy between the monetary authority, the CBN, and the fiscal side. Sometimes it appears that there is competition between this, especially on the fiscal side. If you look at some of the interventions, you will find that those interventions, there are interventions that should be managed by ministries. So the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment should handle MSME interventions and those kinds of interventions. And we should know what the CBN is doing. In other words, if the CBN is going to intervene in the MSME sector, it should be with the full cooperation and consent of the Ministry of Industries. If they're going to intervene in agriculture, it should be with full consent. So that synergy is absolutely important. The reason why it's important, aside from the fact that you cannot plan an economy in any other way, the more important thing is that sometimes you will get people who are benefiting more than once, because we simply have no line of sight to what's going on one side. CBN doesn't know what we're doing. They don't know what we don't know what they're doing. So I think that is important. That synergy is absolutely important. And as for the exchange rate, I think we need to move our rates to a more reflective market, as reflective of market as possible. This, in my own respectful view, is the only way to improve supply. We can't get new dollars into the system where the exchange rate is artificially low. And everyone knows by how much our reserves can grow. So I'm convinced that the demand management strategy currently being adopted by the CBN, we need to rethink. And that's just my view. But anyway, all those are issues I'm sure that when the CBN governor has time to address, he'll be able to address in full.
All right, and joining us to discuss further is Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu, who called me immediately that live shot was taken. Chika, you're welcome. You called me and said, Rotis, did you hear what the Vice President just said? Chika, you're welcome. Let us discuss in full.
My phone hasn't stopped ringing since yesterday.
It's insane.
People have been calling me left and right, asking for my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know what we'll do in this program?
Yes.
We just try to educate, help our viewers understand a little better, what the issues are.
Yes.
Devoid of politics. And semantics.
Yes.
The beauty of economics is the fact that rarely do you find two economics agree on the same issue.
Right.
People say on the one side this, on the some side that. So even as we're pushing for the FX, I'm sure some people are saying, get it, lower, get it higher. So the CBN governor must be, being dragged left and right. And for if anybody who's not strong, may be confused as to what to do. There is really nothing wrong, therefore, with what the VP has said, because what I told you, that everybody has their opinion.
Okay.
Because devaluation can actually be a deliberate economic policy.
Okay.
And indeed, economies of the world are very diversified, actually deliberately, periodically devalue their currency.
Okay.
And when they do that, let me explain further. What happens is that it makes their exports cheaper. And so other countries are able to buy their exports. It makes spending money inside their country cheaper.
Yes.
Therefore, tourists can come in easily into their country. And in that way, they're going to have more foreign exchange. Now, that's the economy they teach us. Now, but be that as it may, you and me know that Nigeria is far from that.
Yes.
The issues that we face in this country are different. The only product we really have to export is oil. And the price and the determinants are just put aside somewhere by OPEC. And so I'm going to address export shortly.
Yes. So
you'll find the fact that we don't really have anything to export. So devaluing our currency has its consequences. So when countries devalue, as I deliberately as I say,
yes,
they have to look at the consequences down the line, because it can have issues of inflation inside the country. In our own locality here, people are already crying. If you go to the market, you'll find that the Naira buys little. So if you devalue, what happened to our fuel subsidy? The cost of living, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So everything must be put in a basket to be able to look at the consequences as you devalue. So the VP has his right to say that the devaluation can be a deliberate policy of a country where you have diversified economy, but ours is very normal at that.
Yeah.
Having said that quickly, may I add that the price of any commodity is actually determined by the demand and the supply of that commodity. And I'll bring you home to our country, Nigeria. I was looking at my passport that I used to do my first trip out of Nigeria in 1985 when I went for at Anderson training in Chicago. And I saw on the last page, it was my BTA. It was stamped at 1 Naira to $1.
Wow.
1 Naira to $1. So you can imagine 1985, that's what the exchange rate was. Now, look at what happened in 1986. Remember what I said? The price of a commodity is already determined by what the demand and the supply.
Yeah.
The first time that we had a really adjustment in our currency was 1986, when SAP, the Structural Adjustment Program, was introduced. Well, like most things in Nigeria, that SAP came with a litany of other things. But like, a good citizen that we are, who go to a church or a mosque and look for blessings, we read the Bible or Quran selectively and look at the blessings and don't look at the conditions of the blessing. And so here, we looked at the SAP. We didn't take the benefits of SAP, implement the issues of SAP, but the first adjustment was done to, I think, Naira to $1 to 4.86 Naira in that 1986.
Yeah.
Now, countries like Egypt, who went through the process of SAP and ran it to the end, have profited from it. Their currencies were adjusted, their economies were stabilized, and so on and so forth. So MFLA has moved this currency lately from 168 to 415.
So devaluation has happened.
It's happened. That's massive.
Right.
I mean, you can imagine that happening to your size. You will die. If that's something that happened to your size.
Right.
You shrink that way, you're going to die. Now, but what's happened? Did the dollars flow in?
Right.
The rule would have the dollars everywhere? No, it didn't happen. So it comes back to that issue of demand and the supply. So let's look at the supply. And I'm being frank because of what the VP said. And I'm going to apportion issues. What I think that, as the VP wakes up this morning, we know the VP, before he became the president of Nigeria, to very cerebral, and we believed that he was going to represent the larger us and then go there and then make sure things happen. We believe it's not too late, and I'm going to put out some things that will help. See, the demand and supply. Let's look at supply.
Yeah.
The first source of our foreign exchange is what? The oil that comes into this country.
Yes.
Now, the oil prices have been pushing up.
It's at $83 a barrel now.
Ultimately, what should happen is what?
It should be getting more dollars coming in.
Why is it not happening? Because of the fact that 30% of our export earnings go back in bringing what? PMS, refined crude into the country.
Yeah.
Which we do what? We sell at below the market
price.
Half of it is smuggled to other African countries because it's cheap here. And so we haven't got the benefit of accretion to our reserves from our rising fuel prices. Even at that, Remember also, we have been struggling to meet our production quota.
Yes.
I guess the Minister for Petroleum should be able to answer that. Who also is the same line with the VP.
Right.
Let them explain to us what is happening really. And so we're not getting benefit of the issue or the fact that oil prices are rising. Otherwise, that would have given confidence and strengthened our currency. But that's not happening because of this issue of oil subsidy that the political class, which the VP belongs to,
right,
have not been able to handle and deal with, and blaming the labor union about it. Now, we know, it's been said, that the refineries have to be put in place before, this thing can happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when Dangote refinery comes on stream next year, hopefully, 30% of our export earnings will stop being dedicated to PMS and refined crude importation.
Yeah.
And that will help supply. Are you following me so far?
Following you, yes.
Yeah, so far. Let's look at FPIs. Then another foreign portfolio investors,
yeah,
which the VP mentioned. Now, maybe you don't know. Remember I said in this program several times that at the time, 2016, 2017, that the market rate was even, higher than this other rate.
Yeah.
And what happened then was we had an abundance of inflows of dollars from foreign portfolio investors. What happened? What did the central bank do? The first thing they did was they devalued the currency. Secondly, it was that they flooded the market with dollars. Third one was they guaranteed the foreign portfolio investors with non-recourse forwards to enable them to get their money back. And then most importantly was that they issued automobiles.
Yes, with high rates.
With high rates at 18%.
Yep.
Okay, Treasury is supposed to refund that, but that cost the economy so much.
Yep.
Remember the four things I mentioned?
Yes.
Those are required to bring the FPIs, not just devaluation, as the VP has mentioned. Even at that, those who are making decisions as to bringing the money into the country worry about what security. The other issue there is remittances.
Yes.
Let me even let me look at the export. Non-oil export earnings. Look at what happened. Do you know that some of our exporters truck their goods to Ghana to be able to export from there?
Because of the congestion.
Because of the congestion at our ports and the multiplicity of taxes there. We're told, one report said that about 16 levies, only 5 are legal to the government. The other ones go to individual pockets. Yet, the VP is head of ease of doing business in Nigeria. At the government side,
yep,
the Minister of Trade and Investment is supposed to help in making sure that the exporters have a good environment to do their business. We talked about it in this program several times. We've cried in this program several times how much it costs exporters to move their goods from inside even Lagos here to the port, and how much it costs them. That it's cheaper to move goods from China to here than moving goods from Apapa GRA to the port. So Apapa Port needs to study that. Luckily, yesterday, at least somebody listened to the president of ADB, dwelt a lot on the port. He heard what he said about the port.
Yeah.
So the issue for me, demand management is the other side that he talked about. What demand management? Curtailing the consumption of dollar. So producing what we eat and eating what we produce.
Yes.
It works for us for rice. It works for us for cement. It's going to work for us for petroleum now. So let government continue to do that. I just have a feeling that CBN has to do more on that respect. What is our actual capacity to produce those goods? And for me, therefore, the issue is that everybody should work together, government side and central bank, to make sure the country is not suffering, because all of us are actually suffering now.
Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu. I should hear Professor Chika Mbonu. Excellent take there. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.